All right, guys, we're back, and we're getting to the lobby for the first match of this first semifinal. This is a qualifying match between Billowy and Guru. Now, kind of an interesting fact that I see a lot of people in chat. Everyone's kind of crushing on Kyra. I guess with Isabel, commercials no longer available, and everyone's just left with Kyra. What's kind of cool is we got to meet Kyra in Toronto when we met with Jesse and the folks at TING in the first place. And what I really admired about meeting her was, like, first off, there wasn't this fake persona. Like, she was very genuine, whatever, that's cool, but she also wanted to learn a little bit about StarCraft. When we were talking about it, she had no clue what it was, but she was very intent on watching a lot of the VODs and the videos that we were sharing, what we do, what StarCraft is, etc. And she was very keen on it. So for those who don't know, she's not just some actress hired for the commercials. She actually works at TING and is a pretty important person there, too. So it's kind of cool to see, again, whether it's Jesse straight up playing the games or the folks that work there getting involved with it. I love that TING gets involved with StarCraft. It's so cool. It really is simple to just throw money at an event. But to take that extra step and actually, like, play out and like, I don't know, get involved, like, that's really cool to me. Mm-hmm. Anyways, the patent was the new sub. We gave him a shout out already, but Arikunua, I don't know how you say a 4-month resub afterwards. Thank you guys both again for being here on the channel with us. We're getting to game number 1, though, of the qualifying series for the TING Open. Quickly reminder, bttv.ting.com to get $25 in credit and learn more about TING. It's a US-only mobile phone service, so unfortunately, if you're in Canada, you're SOL, but I got to buy one of their SIM cards. I used it while I was in the States. It worked fantastic and saved me a bunch of money. But that being said, they won't always save you money. But going back to the genuine part of this for just one moment, they're very clear about that too. They've got a savings calculator on their website. They will tell you straight up, like, if you're better with your current provider, stay with your current provider. What I like about TING is that they just want to help. Of course, make some money in the process, but, you know, don't we all? In the upper right side of this qualifying match, he is going to be hailing from Korea. He's been on just about every Kespa team at some point. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Billowy. Or Yuolib.
Walib. The bottom left as the green Zerg, he is Guru.
Now, I gotta be honest with you guys, I think Guru's got the better chance in this one. Even though I can say something like Billowy being Korean and Billowy being on a lot of Kespa teams, Guru's still my favorite to take this.
We're still not sure if Billowy being on like 8 different teams is good
versus
or
bad. Yeah. Because the one thing, like, maybe you got kicked out of 8 different teams. Like, we don't actually know what the story is, but Billowy, to be good enough to even be a B team or to be a practice partner on all those teams, he's good enough. And while we have not seen consistently great performances out of him, like, every once in a while, Billowy actually kills really strong players.
Sure. Yeah. It is just the a case of. For me, and I'm sure for a lot of people, DVP still has the stigma of being, like, not, like, terribly imbalanced, but, like, okay, Protoss is kind of a tough time against multiple different things, overload drops or all-ins or what have you. But also just that it's always, like, a bad time for these Koreans, obviously, even though they've been doing this for, like, so damn long. It's on their home server, and it's just, Billowy, he got here, but he was like 2-1. He only did 2-1 versus Strange. It's PvP, but again, like I said, with DVP, I still think being in Zerg's favor. And what's, I guess, on top of that, and we talked about this, right? For different reason, European Zergs, or even American Zergs, basically non-Korean Zergs, seem to be a lot stronger than their Korean counterparts, which is usually not the case for anything at all. It's always Koreans are the strongest, like everyone QQ. But like European Zergs, I don't know what it is about it, but they always seem like they're trickier, or they're just, they're more abusive or something with their race.
I mean, it's weird because, like, you mentioned North Americans, and, like, for example, No Regret and Scarlet have been tearing it up in Korea. What I find really odd, though, is, like, we actually had a fairly serious conversation the other night discussing specifically, like, how European Zerg seem to have really taken off. And it's not just because there's a lot of them, and there are more Zerg, I think, in Europe per capita than the other regions, sure. But they're just in general better at it. So even with that consideration aside, I still favor Guru in this just because he is such a strong contender. Like, regardless of race and ethnicity and whatever for practice partners, Guru has just shown us, like, pretty good wins versus Protoss doing very silly things. Like, Guru moving around is kind of like a meme among some of the players, but also, like, we watch him do things like clump up 12 lurkers thinking, oh, that'll die to disruptors. What a joke. Haha. And then it wins, and you're like, why did that work? How did that happen?
Yeah, that is absolutely true. But it is Guru is like this epitome of like maybe it's just a different style for European Zergs than it is for Koreans. I don't honestly know. I haven't looked into the nitty-grittiness enough to be able to have an opinion on that. But Guru has his own style for sure amongst any other Zergs in Europe or elsewhere, and that could throw off someone like Billowy, who might only be used to, you know, the one type of Zerg or something like that. It's also Dusk Towers, which, I mean, we're gonna have to make a lot of filler because they're gonna both get to 3 bases, 4 bases even, and it's most likely gonna get to that lurker point, with Guru being Guru, and of course Billy already opening with a Phoenix opener. I don't think we're gonna see him mutas ending the game.
So there was that one map pool. I can't for the life of me remember most of the names of the map, but it had like Aldesim Stronghold and some of the others.
Oh, Jesus.
That map pool ended up being like 3 or 4 of the maps all had like safe 3 base builds. And I'm gonna not lie, like it was an interesting time because I was also in Swarmhouse or Reigning Supreme and a whole other can of worms, but it was a lot of these macro maps. And StarCraft was already slower back then too, so it was less interesting. I like that they've really toned this down. And you've got some maps where you can sometimes play like that, but we really do only have Dusk Towers being this map where you're like, we always roll our eyes. We're like, we know it's gonna be a macro game. Like before it even starts, it's Dusk Towers. It's gonna be a macro game.
Yeah, it's true. I do appreciate it's the only one, but because it's the only one, that usually means it's not vetoed. You know, multiple players are just gonna be, you know, more in favor of having this standard, very, very standard map.
Well,
you know what's interesting? We haven't seen King Sejong of Frost at all today.
Actually, that's a good point, considering that they were primarily picked in all the other ones. I was gonna make one last comment on this though, where I'm glad that we can have a map that's like this, because unlike Overgrowth, a map that was just as well, I think, liked and just as least vetoed as Dusk Towers is, unfortunately in Overgrowth you only saw the same builds on it over and over, and it's like who could execute the build more flawlessly. Dusk Towers and Legacy of the Void in general has presented a little bit more in terms of like diversity, I suppose, with builds and choices, and for that reason I will never, I think, get bored of this map.
I don't know.
I hope not, at least.
Bored of it. It has been in the map pool for a very long time. I just think that's the reason for me that I'm kind of already bored of it.
It's okay, you got a passion, I understand. It's one way to say it, I
true.
guess.
It's absolutely true.
It's like your mom nagging you like about safety. It's just her way of saying I love you. This is your way of saying like I've lost all passion, guys. I'm not interested in the map.
Absolutely true. But Guru, we mentioned his own particular style. So we were talking about like the mass amount of lurkers and kind of how sometimes he seems to disadvantage them, but it still works. He also likes to go for upgraded lings, which I think certainly have like, he kind of like started it, and then you know, the Baneling movement happened, or whatever you want to call it. So everyone was starting to use lings and Banelings, but he was kind of the first that I saw it being very effective, and especially on Dusk Towers, where just counterattacks were swamping the Protoss player. Even if their 3 bases are supposed to be very easy to protect.
This is a macro hatchery, not a 5th base that I had thought it was going to be.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's getting a lot of lings, so...
Well, so that's exactly the point. Like, this means we're not just going to see this be used defensively with that Baneling nest. Like, this is actually him saying, I think Guru's about to turn the heat up to 10 and start forcing this game to be fought out one way or the other. And while Immortals are going to be kind of okay, generally speaking, when you're fighting against Hydras and such, they even fall prey a little bit to the Banelings. Despite the splash damage not being super effective, they get on top of them really quickly.
Here's what's important, though, is that, you know, Billowy did go for not just straight to Immortals. He wasn't doing something blind, which I was a little afraid he was going to do, to be honest. And just going for, like, okay, I gotta go anti-lurker, because every Zerg's doing that. He's getting Storm, Charge Lots, and Immortal. So the Charge Lots are going to go down to the Banelings, obviously. That's kind of like the whole idea. But the Storm, ideally, will take care of everything else that just doesn't have any health. I mean, a Storm gets on Guru's army, and it's going to die. The Lurkers will be more of an issue, but it's hopefully where the Immortals are still alive to take care of them. So I think this composition is pretty good, as long as he actually positions it well, because, I mean, it was like last week we saw a game where it was like Archon, it was like Lil Bao, wasn't it? Archon, Immortal, and Blink Stalkers, and we were like, well, this composition is going to do great against Banelings. Then Snoop made like 50 Banelings.
Yeah, he just kind of laughed his way to the bank.
Like, it didn't matter. So it's not just the composition, of course. It is like, you know, maybe force fields, and of course knowing where your opponent's attacking into you.
Just barely not killing that Archon, by the way. That sucks. But I guess the other part of this too is, I mean, okay, you're gonna have this swell of massive amounts of lings. I mean, seriously, this is gonna be like 80 plus lings on the map. Maybe Banelings, maybe not. But there's also a lot of Hydras and Lurkers behind this. So this isn't just like one wham bam, thank you ma'am, hope these things work strategy. He runs to the north as well to see where the army's at. Tries to get us around on the cannons. Looks like he'll get a couple of cancels. Maybe on the Nexus too? He should be able to. Oh, I don't know. He gets it low, so a kill's not going to be too hard to secure a little bit later on.
That's a good point, because he definitely could have killed it. Like, 20 lings staying there would have been worth it.
Going for Tempests?
Yeah, okay, I don't think he's reading the situation very well. Oh, he must be thinking Guru's just going for straight to Hive.
Oh, well that's...
Guru's about to attack him with everything.
Yeah, Guru's just setting up for a big all-in. Guru wasn't setting up for like this crazy Hive macro game. Lurkers do position themselves. They get detected, but there's not enough army to pounce on it. The Immortals get picked off. Lings make it through to the main. That fourth base got killed, not canceled. That's even better than a kill. Bailey's get made. So now Zella Warpins aren't going to be enough to cut it. The Storms haven't been used yet, though. There's a lot of Templar with energy waiting to pepper these Hydras.
Yeah, I mean, finally the Storms come down, but, you know, a big part of the...
I'd say there's a lot of damage already done through this.
Yeah, no, it was actually a ton of damage. A big problem was that this wasn't like an army into army with like foes and overcharges available. It was Guru wrapping around.
Oh god, here we go.
On his bases.
Storm's trying to hit everything they can. Bailey's popping off on top of the Immortals. Lurkers going somewhat uncontested. If there's no Immortals left over, the Lurkers won't be dealt with. The Mothership Core goes down. Charge Lot's trying to get in here. There's more Lings on the way. I guess there was an attack on the other side of the map. Losing a small amount of drones, almost inconsequential though. These Lurkers, though, seriously, these Lurkers, though.
It was a very messy hold.
That's gotta be game.
Yeah, no, it's definitely game. He used a ton of minerals and gas to try and transition when he didn't really need to. And unfortunately, yeah, his army just was not in a very ideal position. It had no force overcharges. I mean, even a Time Warp could have been helpful to stop Guru from getting such a good position on the ramp.
Yeah, I love he's using Lurkers to just guard the ramp. He could move up them with the Lurkers, of course, if he'd really like to, but just since the links to the main, he knows there'll be enough damage. Billowy just on the ropes as he doesn't perhaps realize how little supply he has.
Yeah. Well, you know, for a second, you know, he was only down 40 supply. And if he was stabilizing, 40 supply was like, okay, you can come back, but having no fourth is going to be a problem no matter what. But now it's 60, 70 supply. His
detection is going to be the hardest thing to deal with here. We do have the Phoenix wrapping for the south side to pick these up, but 1 or 2 Hydras on the ground are more than enough to shoot those out of the sky. Nexus is going to go down. Unit's going to be forced to fight. It's not going to cut it, and looks like our foreigner Guru will take this first game in the qualifying series.
GG.
GG. All right, well, congratulations on that first win, but there's going to be another one necessary to lock this down. We're going to go to a small break while we get it set up. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys soon. All right, just swapping over to the in-game screen because these players are ready to go and we don't want to waste any time. So, Ruins of Endion for map number 2. It is, of course, still the qualifying series. Bottom side of the bracket is starting to get some updates. Bly playing against Revolver right now. Winner of that will play against Beyond, and that'll be the next series we cast. But spawning here in the bottom left side, he's actually up 1-0. The foreigner here in the arena, the Green Zerg Guru.
In the bottom right, as the red Protoss, he is Billowy. Walib.
Walib. So,
sounds like a Age of Mythology thing. Walib.
Rogan?
Walib.
Walib. Yeah. They always had that and the Sims. I just love the language that they have.
Oh my god, this like Simlish is just it's so fun. I
would love to do like a whole cast. Like don't tell the stream what we're doing. Just show up one day and just cast in Simlish.
I learned that the you know how like you can play music in The Sims, like you can turn on the radio and you can swap channels or whatever.
Okay.
Well, you can. So there's actually a couple of them are just like like very typical like pop songs that are like they're not a real song, but they actually have I can't remember the name of it now, but one of like a very popular pop song in like 3-4 years ago, and it was the actual band singing it in Simlish. They like asked if they could actually sing it and write the lyrics, quote unquote. So it's the exact tune, but it's just in Simlish.
That's terrible. I mean, it's amazing, but terrible all at the same time.
It'd be funny.
Well, Getting into whatever we're going to see for this game, Ruins of Endion's actually presented a lot of interesting opportunities for Zerg, I would say more than Protoss. A lot of that has to do with knocking down the rocks and playing a little bit more safe. I really liked watching Drogo here, though. Again, it was a weird situation with Bly and this, that, and the other, but I just, the South, whoops, reading South Park in chat as I'm trying to talk. The Stargate opener, combined with knocking down the rocks, combined with taking down the third base, I really think Protoss have a lot of cool defensive ways to play this map, yet somehow it always feels like when we come here, it's the Zerg that are controlling the terrain.
I know exactly what you mean. So, like, for the first 3 bases, and they should be coming down very fast for both parties unless there's something with cheese going on, because of the rocks being able to be broken down and whatnot. It looks fine. It looks great. Like, Protoss are getting, like, their production, too, and they're getting, like, a high immortal count or something like that. And then just as soon as when it comes to actually maneuvering around the map, getting to those 4th or 5th bases is when, you know, the Protoss really starts to falter. They get out of position once, or they just, you know, they can't deal with the Ling counterattacks. And if that's the case normally, then you add on top of its Guru, and Guru had like really good Ling attacks last game, and just in general, then it's going to be up to Billowy to not be overwhelmed like he was. He was very quickly overwhelmed and just cut down, and it was almost like he had no scouting whatsoever, which, I mean, I didn't actually check the minimap. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he had no observers out in the field, but he was swamped very easily.
So I'm learning some shocking information through needing to close Twitter and such. I knew we were talking about him the other day, but I didn't know Shaq owned an esports team.
I didn't know that either.
It's
NRG,
NRG. I guess.
That actually sounds very familiar. NRG esports. I'm gonna look this up. I guess they're a Counter-Strike team mostly.
I guess that makes sense because he was doing that one Counter-Strike promo video for the E-League or whatever, which I gotta admit I haven't seen any of, but I'm curious to see how that turns out and goes. So much money being invested in Counter-Strike, but for TV and not streaming is so weird.
It's weird because it's like third generation TV.
I know it feels it's a step backwards. Like a lot of people consider TV to be the bigger source because it's forced on so many people, but it really is like going backwards with technology. Anyway, that's a whole other topic for another time. We got Jesse joining us in chat. Always gotta call him out when he's around. Big love to this guy. He's the guy who works at TING, and he's the one who got us hooked up and talked about for all this stuff. So if you guys have any questions about TING, make sure to ask him. And Jesse, because I know you're just tuning in, you're here for just in time for the qualifying matches, man. This is the first qualifying match. The second one we'll be guessing afterwards will be Beyond versus either Bly or Revolver. And of course, for those who are watching in Twitch chat live with us, type ! brackets in chat, and you'll be able to see the bracket yourselves.
Well, as said, like the 3 bases should be very easy to get to, and so far they are. Phoenix opener to be expected on both of these maps, but also in general, and of course Hydralisk to be expected as well. Guru breaking down rocks is almost always going to be in his favor. Protoss are usually not attacking early on anymore, which is so odd because it used to be all about all-ins and Heart of the Swarm, but now they seem to be more in favor of getting to that third base and getting, you know, double robo, and you know, we all know the way to go. So it's Zerg that's wants to break down the rocks and open up pathways of attack for later on. It's really weird how different Protoss is. I almost want to get someone who only got into StarCraft 2 and Legacy of the Void, and then make them watch games or play games on Heart of the Swarm.
Oh, and just
see
how
bad they are in reverse. You know, like Protosses were bad coming to Legacy of the Void.
Oh gosh, how about the original Phoenix?
Wait,
it couldn't move and shoot?
Oh, that's too far back, though.
But I'm just saying, can you imagine trying to make somebody who's never touched that version, or even Heart of the Swarm, for an example? If it was a purely Legacy of Void player, you give them these, they see this broken. What's wrong with it?
Yeah, well, I imagine they try and go for, like, all gateway units, right? Because that's like, really the bulk of Protoss right now is about getting a lot of gateway units. Because the depths have really changed up how powerful they are. But they try and do that in, like, Heart of the Swarm. Maybe they'll do okay with a bunch of mass playing Stalkers. But you're like, no, man, you gotta go Colossus. They're gonna be like, what?
Why? That unit's a bad unit.
No?
Yeah, that would certainly be an interesting experience, but I don't think we're gonna find many people like that, unfortunately. Because most of the StarCraft fans are still like fans who've been around forever. In fact, there's more people who probably know more about Wings of Liberty than even about Legacy of the Void, as strange as that is to consider.
the closest we could probably get is someone who played Wings of Liberty, not Heart of the Swarm, and came back for Legacy of the Void.
Yeah.
So, terrible truth of it. Oh no.
Oh, rip. Okay, Phoenixes are going to get picked off a little bit there. Not great start for Billowy. Of course, that fourth base is going to get scouted now, as Guru has, once again, just started taking control of it. He's got creeps right in the middle of the map. He's taking his fourth, not forced to be in base. Billowy could expand in base. I mean, he's got a pretty comfortable situation. He stopped the Lynx from breaking down the rocks. He really hasn't taken any sort of damage. But, man, it's just like every single time we see anyone leave a Zerg player alone and let them do what they'd like, that player loses that game.
I usually say that there are a couple of Protosses, they get to mid/late game. I actually think they're scarier, but not for Billowy. It's, just I'm ragging on Billowy today, I guess. He's once again getting Storm, pretty early, but unfortunately it's not here right now. Force is gonna have to hold off for now, or just the charge left, I suppose. And I do think that Storm, like in appropriate situations, is gonna be really, really good. So like through chokes and through ramps and defending on these 4 bases.
She was kind of like one of the worst X-Men, in my opinion.
No way, she's really cool. Oh my god! So you know how they put Jubilee in the movie?
No.
This is kind of a spoiler.
No, but hang on. Actually, I'm just thinking Storm's kind of like in the air doing like Justice Reigns from above, and Cyclops can just like beam her down, man.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. But Jubilee wasn't in the movie. Like, she was, but I thought they were actually going to do something with her, because everyone was like, oh my god, it's Jubilee. And then she doesn't do anything.
Okay, well...
She's useless.
Zealot attacks en masse in the main, and charge lots are certainly a badass thing. Without banelings this time around, cleaning them up is proven to be kind of difficult, as we can see. And I mean, that Lurker Den might not even survive this attack at this rate. Actually, it should. But more Warpins are coming, and Guru is finding his opponent really dedicating to this.
Well, as you said, Guru is mixing things up. He's not going for a Baneling Nest. He didn't go for double upgrades on the both attacks this time, so his lanes aren't upgraded at all.
He did lose the Lurker Den, though.
Ooh, that's gonna take a long time to rebuild.
That's a large part of his. Attack. Well, there's a large part of his splash use open to really just deal with things, because you don't need Banelings if you've got Lurkers to deal with that front wave of Zealots or whatever. But now the fact remains that he does need a Baneling Nest. There we go, because it'll be much faster than waiting for the Hydra Den to complete, to turn into the Lurker Den all over again, and to make the Lurkers. Like, he needs something soon and now. So even if it's without speed, I like having the option of Banelings available to him.
Yeah, I do too, and I'm sure he wishes he had it, before the attack happened. So Billowy's got his 3rd saturated, his production getting up and ready, and his 4th base is on the way in a very secure manner. Without those lurkers already being prepared, he doesn't really have to worry about losing his 4th. And as long as he can have some decent defense with all the rocks being broken down in his 3rd, then he's actually in a very safe position, should be getting maxed out. Guru's kind of like missed the timing. I'm sure he wanted to hit with those lurkers, and might have to think about other things besides hitting with lurkers, basically. So maybe that's Hive or Infestors or something, but the Lurker Den only halfway done. It really is just about the time, not the minerals and gas, because it's so freaking long. He is trying to upgrade his Lings again, so he's just doing things a little bit out of order this game. And it bit him in the butt.
Drops. Interesting. We're not going to have enough melee upgrades to make Baneling drops be super duper effective, but with 3 Overlords morphing in, we'll see how much this dedicates to. It's kind of hard to tell with that Phoenix Scout as well. It kind of just looks like an Overseer Cocoon unless you click on it.
Yeah.
I mean, to see 3 Overseers morphing in is really nothing to be... You don't even think twice about it. That's just normal, so... these drop Overlords may get some work done. It looks like he's waiting to load up the Banelings, though. I'm not sure if he'll use this for an army fight. Like, this is really interesting to me, because he could use this just to go for harass and attack the base, but he could also use this just to move forward and drop directly into the heart of all the Immortals on top of everything on the back lines.
The splash is always going to be good, but there's really not too many units that he's going to be... Like, there's not like 15 charge lots he's going to be dropping on top of. Taking away the sentries and the High Templars, though, would be worth any amount of Banelings. Those are pretty expensive units. We'll see if he loads them up. Billowy just wants to clear up creep, it looks like, so he's really not looking for a fight. Guru taking care of the harassment, okay this time, not losing any Lurker Dens. It is going to be for Ling drops. Not a bad idea if the army wasn't already at home.
It's just, nope. It's like we see the monster in that horror game. He's just like, oh, you got stalkers warping in. Nope.
Did you see the game I was talking to Fear Dragon about?
No.
The one where you're like you're like a group of 4 people, and then your 5th buddy, because it's a cooperative game, is a serial killer, and you're like in the woods. It looks basically like a much better damned.
Okay, cool.
It is gruesome, man. I was watching someone play it.
Force fields are nice. Balins get denied. We do, of course, have Lings that managed to get over on this side of the map thanks to that southern opening opened up, but DT's warped in will deal with these. Meanwhile, the question is, can Guru hold on the attack on this side of the map? He's got lurkers. They've been revealed. Lings looking to come from the backside, just decided to run on through instead. Guru's gonna find Billowy a little bit split with his defense, but at the same time, Billowy can't seem to find an opening. In fact, an Archon even gets popped off by a single Hydra.
Yeah. He warped in a ton of DTs that I really think he was banking up for the harassment. There we go, some DTs being warped into the top left. Maybe gonna get this base. It is causing Guru to entirely reposition. I don't know why Billowy's following. Maybe catch the lurkers on the backside. Oh, that works out pretty well. I thought he was gonna go into the third base as a natural. Takes the army fight instead.
Lurkers going down. Ling's getting completely shut down by those storms, but there's still so many of them. Lurkers looking to advance forward. Even Queen's coming in that front line. A little bit awkward to see. I don't know about giving chase into this army, but Billowy did not break Guru on this attack.
No. He did take a fairly significant army supply lead, though. Despite all those Ling, like, it looked like it was about to snowball, it was actually cleaned up very nicely by Billowy. And his army is still, like, all the Immortals still live, so it's looking pretty good. 2 High Templars full on energy. It still looks like Guru might lose his 4th, and if he loses his 4th, he's gonna lose his 5th.
It's been an interesting attack so far to like attack instead of defend and attack while defending, but he doesn't have the army supply to do that anymore, so he's got to take one big fight. Without Banelings, he can't even break this front line. Some of the Zealots go down, and maybe the Immortals too to follow, but there's just not enough to completely kill Billowy. Meanwhile, DTs did manage to sneak in over here, and this is where the game starts getting out of control.
Yeah, Guru really needed some consistent income. And he was gonna have it. He could just transfer all of his drones to the 5th from the 4th, but to transfer all your drones from the natural, like that's pretty bad. He finally uses his entire bank to bump up his army supply again, but Billowy is still looking strong, still saved most of his Immortals, more High Templars joining in with more and more energy, and DTT is finally gonna get cleaned up by an Overseer and just the main army, actually.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't focus that Lurker Den. They obviously would have gotten it had they done so, just kind of, I guess, not paying attention while he danced in the middle of the map.
No Observer? I guess not. That's a little bit of a mistake.
He was relying on Revelations for a majority of this game, so I suppose, yeah, with the new Oracle coming out, he's not looking to invest too much in Observers. There's one, but it's back at home.
Guru does replant both hatcheries he lost fairly quickly. Oh, unfortunately, that's 4 probably here. Oh, really unfortunate, because those Phoenix has been taking up energy.
Oh, no. This was like, should have been very little kills. Ends up getting 12, and he still could get more, but he's not paying attention to these because he's trying to walk the Zealots and the Dark Templar in.
This is another reason for Guru to move his entire army in this lead, because Lurker is potentially undefended. He's using so many drones. He doesn't win this army fight, he just loses the game. Billy's going for 5th base.
I mean, he's been really tunnel visioned on dealing with parts of the army, and like up until just the last even 3 or 4 minutes, Guru was in such control of this game when it came to like choosing fights and picking engagements and drawing Billowy back home, but he's not been able to fully force Billowy home at all. Like, he's now at this point where he's just constantly dealing with Protoss. In fact, tapping out, GG. Game number 2 gonna go to Billowy. Tying up the series now 1-1. Of course, for us guys, we're gonna head off into a small. Did you just throw your sock on your bed? What was that?
Yeah, I took my socks off.
Oh, that's right, because you're getting warm. Okay, I was like, that looked really weird on the camera. We're gonna go to a small break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in exactly 2 minutes with game number 3. Okay, we're back, and we're just waiting for the game to get going. Some confusion about vetoes, but Twitch just did something kind of awesome. If you type /horde or /alliance, I guess this is 100% just in promotion of the Warcraft movie coming out. If you type /horde or /alliance, you get a Twitch badge that is either an Alliance Twitch badge or a Horde Twitch badge. I think that's really cool. Apparently, if you have Twitch Turbo, it will replace your Twitch Turbo badge, unfortunately, but I don't have Turbo, so I'm not too worried about that. But zug. Ladies and gentlemen, game number 3, spawning here in the upper right side of Frost. We got the green Zerg. It's going to be Guru.
In the bottom right, as the teal Protoss, it's Billowy.
Okay, so you want to explain the confusion with the vetoes, I guess?
Yeah, I suppose. So, like, Guru is sure that he vetoed King Sejong. Billowy is sure he vetoed Frost. So originally we were on King Sejong, and then I remade it to Frost. And then Billowy was like, no, but okay.
Right, and so
And now we're on Frost.
and the reason I bring this up is not because like I want to point out like a mistake or anything like that, but because this really does kind of screw with Billowy. Perhaps this may be a map he just doesn't want to play against Zergon. I mean, good luck taking a third securely on this base, especially against Guru's playstyle.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that, but it's just really funny. It wasn't that they were arguing about, you know, oh, I vetoed Frost, you vetoed King Sage, or like something like that. It was literally like, what did one person veto? I say you vetoed this, you said you vetoed this. So I don't know if Billowy doesn't like Frost. You're right, like maybe he was really happy that Frost was vetoed and he didn't have to. You know, maybe that's why it's really frustrating that he's on Frost now, or maybe he actually didn't care and he was like, okay, whatever. King Sejong or this. It's all good. Because honestly, if they play on King Sejong, I can also see a lot of difficulty. King Sejong has a very wide natural ramp, and the third is a little ways off. Like, they're both going to have an ideal base setup for lane counterattacks and wraparounds and whatnot.
So, speaking of this Horde Alliance thing, I used to be Alliance. I was Alliance for a majority of my Warcraft career. I stopped to Horde only in the most recent expansion, and I just had a lot more fun being Horde.
So, for me, I feel like I never got to experience what everyone says Alliance is right now. Because everyone says Alliance is like full of like the young kids, right? And everyone's like a douchebag. I never really got to experience that.
What's kind of funny is I would say, while World of Warcraft is, in my opinion, far more focused and emphasized on the PvE aspects of it, there was a phenomenally large shift in Horde versus Alliance because everybody swapped for the PvP racials around Arena. And I think that there's 2 instances of this, but the bigger one was like the most recent expansion. And when they completely screwed over Alliance racials, so many people swapped over that the ratios became incredibly skewed. Now, I don't know if this stayed like this for a while or not, because that's around the time I stopped playing. But I thought it was really funny because I had to go Horde because all my friends went Horde. Like, they didn't care about rating, whatever.
Yeah, for 3 years, so like I actually started playing WoW at the beginning of the beta because my brother got into it. I was Alliance. I was a Night Elf, and I really liked Night Elves. Like I thought the animation for the chick Night Elves were like so cool, especially if they have like a sword. But then my friends got into it, like, you know, after I was like, yeah, I play WoW, and they all wanted to play Horde. So I've been Horde for the last like 6 years, but I've never forgotten.
It was actually fun, like role playing with this stupid Loktar, oh god.
Yeah, I like that everyone is trying to change it. It's really cool that they added it.
I mean, I would love to see more stuff like this, obviously, in the future. I feel bad because, like, someone's going to be like, well, this is all the advertising they were hoping they would get out of this. Rift announcement, well, kind of, yeah, dude. Like, if you played World of Warcraft, this movie that you're going to see, because you're going to see it, right? It's not going to be a great movie, but you're going to watch it. You're going to enjoy the shit out of it. So don't be a stickler about it. Just enjoy the fact that Twitch gave you some more fun tools to play with.
Exactly.
That's my opinion, at least. But, anyways, they, Ooh, actually, you know what I just realized is a really important question. We need to find out what side Jesse's on. This could greatly affect how we work with Ting going forward.
Really?
No, not in the slightest.
Yeah. So, okay, something interesting is kind of happening where Billowy did go for basically not an expansion. So he might still... No, he's not building probes. Okay. I was going to say, because on maps where it's difficult to take a third base, sometimes you see... That has to be a mistake. Okay, good. Sometimes you see that they'll get their production and their tech up first, and then they will take a third base eventually, just much later than really what they would want, because they know they were taking it, you know, early to begin with. But then there's, you know, the other side where if they stop building probes before they're fully saturated, they don't take all their gases, then they're probably going to go for a very dedicated attack, which they might expand after, but it has to do damage. So we do see, you know, 2 more gateways finishing up, in total of 6 gateways, 7 gateways actually, adepts, and a warp prism. And I'm not sure Guru has scouted this. He's scouted a maybe suspicious lack of third, but he hasn't scouted the main at all.
Well, it's a big warp in Billowy. I mean, this kind of makes sense too. We go back to that point where he said maybe he didn't want to worry about a third on this map, and what's one way to do that? By killing and ending the game before you have to worry about that situation. So this really big all-in hits hard. +1 weapons isn't done just yet. These Lings are kind of chipping away at half the army, but for the most part, the Queens aren't going to hold this alone, and the Lings are all pretty much gone at this point.
Yeah. Lings will do okay against like a limited amount of adepts, right? They get us around and
They're like
okay,
almost at a
but then
manageable
you warp
number.
then you warp in like 4 more adepts and then like 7 more adepts, and it just snowballs if you're only on Lings. Even the Hydras aren't really going to help here, as they will go down very quickly to adepts as well. They really need a buffer. I think Billowy just did it.
Yeah, I think he's broken them. I mean, Hydras are going to come out one at a time and just get insta-shot. Drones aren't really mining on anything too. I mean, this was unfortunate too, because this was almost at a manageable number, almost at a point where I think he could have held that. Like, the queens were still alive. Some still are. He was killing a majority of the adepts. I mean, he's going to even lose the +1. That's going to be like the most hard part of this.
Mm-hmm. The adepts are a bit tucked into the corner, but the warpers are still alive. These aren't the only adepts, and Billowy is still on a decent enough economy, like his base is still mining, that he can easily warp in another, 14 adept army, so... Guru just got caught off guard by a 2-base Protoss all-in on a Heart of the Swarm map. Ha!
Justice is served. Guru's not happy with that, though. You see that pause quit? He didn't say it. We'll say it.
Damn!
He didn't say it. We'll say it for him. GG.
Well, GG to Billowy, who, to both of us,
proved us wrong.
He can qualify.
Yes, so Billowy will be the first player in the second wildcard group to qualify through. This means we will hopefully be hopping back to the other series, which is not ready to go. We're still waiting on Bly to finish up versus Revolver by the looks of it. Where are they, Bly? I don't even see Bly online. So did Revolver win? But I don't see Revolver in chat.
It would have made sense for them to go to Europe, wouldn't it?
Oh, I guess, yeah. Billowy. Hi. Yeah, I gotta get his contact information, I guess. So, now we're just gonna have to wait a few. Do you want to hop to Europe and see if you can keep an eye on at least when they'll be finished, I suppose?
Sure.
Anyways, so yeah, I'll get contact for Billowy here while we figure out what he's going to be doing going forward as far as dates he can play and whatnot. And I guess we'll play some TING commercials again while we wait. So guys, word from our sponsors while we get things sorted, and we'll try and get this next series going ASAP. One last series today, one last best of 3, and it'll be Bly or Revolver, the winner of that series versus Beyond.